up, you guys? Welcome back to Bois, your one-stop shop for all of your energy drink reviews and your performance talks. I am Brian.
I'm Christian.
Today we got a fun one. We got a couple things on the docket, but of course, we always got to start with the basic, what started it all. What do you got to drink?
So today I got I don't know if I've reviewed this flavor before, but I haven't had it in a long time, so I picked it up. It is the Sparkling Ice Tropical Punch. So I'm not usually a huge, I don't think I have. I've had it before, but it's been a long time, so I don't even know if I've had it since I've been here this year. I know I had it last year, but Tropical Punch flavor, you already know, Sparkling Ice, 70 mgs of caffeine, pretty light, but I'm excited to try this flavor for y'all. I like the color palette. Not a huge fan of the gradient on the can. That's kind of how all their cans are, but I do like this kind of blue to teal type of deal they got going on here. Tropical Punch, I feel like it's a kind of a tougher flavor to hit on with an energy drink. It kind of just screams like fruit punch type of deal, a melody of a bunch of general fruit flavors, nothing super distinct. On the can it has this picture of a pineapple, I think that's a mango, and then an orange. So I don't know, man. We'll see.
Little pineapple, apple pen.
That's right.
In the most absolute Bev Boys fashion for us, July 4th was over 10 days ago, so I decided now's a good time to do the America Pop Ghost.
Nice.
So, I mean, it could not be, that's the microcosm of us in any way, shape, or form. I mean, it's the same Ghost formula everybody loves. 200 milligrams of caffeine, 100 milligrams of neurofactor, 150 milligrams of alpha GPC, as well as 1,000 milligrams of carnopure carnitine or acetylcarnitine. Or no, it's an L-carnitine, my bad. L-carnitine, L-tartrate. And then the cool thing in there is everyone might look at a label and go, oh, that's neat, that's neat, that's neat, that's neat. The one thing that really sticks out on the label is estrogen in a 10-to-1. Basically, it is an herb that, like black pepper extract, increases all of the absorption and the bioavailability, which is a fancy word to say that instead of you absorbing about 25% of something, you might absorb more close to 50 to 70%. So throwing that in there, they have it in their pre-workouts, having that in a freaking energy drink. I mean, America, yeah. The way he swishes it, I know a dentist hates to see him coming.
That's right. Yeah, it's kind of what I expected, and a little bit. I can't really remember. know I've had it, but I can't really remember how it tasted. But
androgynous fruit flavor.
Yeah, kind of a little bit. I do taste more of a pineapple mango type of deal going on there.
That's not bad. That's better than fruit punch.
Not bad. Yeah, I'll take that over fruit punch for sure.
I will say I am not a bomb pop flavor guy.
You are not.
I am most certainly not. And the reason for that is most of the time it's the same problem I have with fruit punch. It's just all the flavors kind of mashed together. You never really taste the difference. Now, with that being said, there's two companies that do a bomb pop flavor that you actually taste the layers kind of through it, in the cherry, the lemon, that blue raz kind of deal. One is Liquid IV in the popsicle bomb pop flavor.
Yes.
The second is Ghost Energy. You actually taste the separation of flavors. Now, I will say, if I had to choose between the two of who did bomb pop a little bit better, I honestly think the Liquid IV one is about as close as you can get to just liquefying a bomb pop. I had that literally in Costco, where I picked this bad boy up. 18 pack for $27. That's $1.52 a can. It gives you the America Pop, the Electric Limeade, which, shout out Matt Law Jones, we know that that's a banger. And then you get the Strabango flavor, not the Strabango margarita, but the Strabango. 6 each for $27. That is almost, that's It's the only deal that's honestly probably better than the 3D energy drinks that I've been on for the past 3 weeks talking about how great of a deal that is.
Yeah. So does the 3D still do the America Pop with their new rebrand?
Yeah,
Because I
so they
actually
still have the
like.
American.
Yeah,
I haven't
I'm
had
not
it, so
even sure.
I can't say I don't like it, but
Yeah, I like it, but it's not a flavor that I can drink like all the time because I do think it's a little bit overdone. I'm not even sure if I've had the Ghost, to be honest. I feel like I've had most other Ghost flavors, but I don't think that's one of them. I've had the
it
Phase
used to be
Pop, which
the
is a similar looking can, but I know it's not the
it's the
same
same
flavor.
thing. It is the same flavor.
Oh, it is. Then
So
I
it's the
have had
same
it.
flavor. Okay, yeah, yeah. So you have had it. So
Then I do like it.
They changed it from Phase Pop to America Pop. I think, and this could be, I could be fucking so wrong that someone's gonna put a laser dot like right here through my window. Um, but I believe it had a lot to do with right when they changed the cans and right when they got purchased by Keurig Dr Pepper. So I think what it may have had to do with was when they got purchased, they were like, let's kind of work to more like it's traditional citrus, not like the phase citrus, which honestly the phase citrus or whatever which one it was, phase up was really good. That one was like a lemon lime, but less Mountain Dewy, more like a Seven Up or a Sprite. Um, which I'm not a fan of Sprite, but it was pretty good. And then they had the Phase Pop, which was this one that kind of morphed into America Pop.
Yeah, because isn't Phase Clan like a gaming team essentially? Do they like
Yeah,
do they still have that partnership, or did that go away when they got purchased by Dr Pepper again?
honestly, I don't know. It'd be worth looking up. Because I know like they really made like gamer, which was like their focus formula. They made it like really geared towards like esports. And then a lot of the Phase guys, like the Phase Clan, was sponsored by Ghost. So let me just see if I can find something here for this. Um, um, okay, so what it sounds like is the collaboration's still on, and essentially Phase Up, which is the Seven Up one, is like the latest rendition, whereas they moved it away. So like the official like collaboration now is Phase Up versus Phase Pop. So they said, oh, we want to keep the like bomb pop flavor. We'll just remove Phase from it and we'll make it America Pop because people like it.
Okay,
So
that
that
makes
seems what
sense.
it was, yeah. And then there is a Phase Up gamer flavor, so that would be pretty good. Okay.
Interesting. Oh my gosh, I'm just seeing this Gorilla Mind ice cream. I'm on Stacked News. Was just
Yep.
looking at some stuff. Yep, Gorilla Mind. Okay, floats the idea. Sugar-free functional ice cream. Okay, so this is going to be like a Halo top type of
I think so.
deal. See, the from someone who like I'm all in on like protein bars, the protein cookies I could kind of pass on. The ice
Not a
cream to me is like I'm
just
just gonna
have
have the
ice
real
cream.
thing. I'm just gonna have
Just
the real
have
thing.
no matter how good it is, and I'll be honest, I do like the Nix ice cream. That's pretty good. It tastes more like the chocolate one is like a frosty type of like texture, but it's not ice cream if that makes sense.
Yeah, even like some of the Halo Top flavors, I haven't had those in years, but there was some of them that were pretty shit, and then some of them that were actually like pretty solid. But
Yeah.
it's like maybe if I was someone who was like I need to eat ice cream like every single day, um,
If I'm
then I would
going
do
that
it.
if I'm like craving ice cream that bad though and like I'm on a cut, I'd probably just buy a Ninja Creamy for the price of Halo Top now.
Exactly. Like the Ninja Creamy I've heard is good
Legit.
at fucks. Yeah. So otherwise I'm just gonna eat real ice cream.
Yeah, like the functional ice cream is cool, and I think it's it's the thing that ever you know what I mean. Like every couple of
Hmm.
years, there's a thing. Right now, it's functional ice cream. Before it was the before honestly before functional ice cream, it was the like Whole Foods like peanut butter based like protein bars. Everybody did
Yep.
that. Right when like Mark LeBliner like created the outright bar, which in my opinion is one of the best tasting fucking protein bars out there, but it popped off so hard, everyone was like, "Oh, we should do one of those." Versus, well, they killed it. Ours probably isn't going to be as good.
Right. And I know the functional like cereal, protein cereal was a thing for a while. Pay
Yep.
$11 for a box.
It's
And
3 servings.
yeah, like with that kind of stuff, like I don't know. Maybe if
I'm
I
gonna
was
eat the
super
Captain
rich,
Crunch.
yeah,
Yeah,
like give me Cinnamon Toast Crunch, give me Captain Crunch.
I'm just gonna go for it, and I'll like if I really want protein in there, I'm just gonna make a protein shake and I'll use it as the milk. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
some of those things. The
Yep.
original Gaines Bowl. Um,
Ghost cereal milk protein in that bad boy.
this goes insane. Now I did try Ghost. I like it, but you can definitely tell it's a protein cereal, if that makes sense. It's
Yeah,
not.
I
It
haven't
doesn't
tried
taste
any of
like
the protein
cereal.
cereals. Yeah, to me, that's just like just leave it as it is.
Yeah. And then the other one that was like a big thing too was like when everyone tried to do like the cookie was before that, like you said, which all of the protein cookies suck. Lenny and Larry's, the
Yeah.
Quest ones, I'm just not a fan of any of them. I'd rather just eat a cookie and a
Well,
protein bar.
right, and the thing is, like, they don't end up being any like less. The Lenny and Larry cookies,
Or
they're a
600
serving is
calories.
exactly the serving is half a cookie, and they're like 400 to 600 calories, and they don't taste as good. You're better off just eating a regular cookie and a protein shake, like exactly
Yeah.
what you said. Like, it's probably going to be less calories, tastes better. Like, yeah, the Quest cookies not very good. Protein cookie, the Lenny and Larry's not very good. I know
For
some.
for a real short amount of time, everyone was doing like the protein peanut butter cups. You remember that? Like when Quest released those?
Yes, I actually liked the Quest peanut butter cups. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if you ever
I
tried them.
I just
Do you
stayed
have fun
away
with
because
them?
I never even tried it because I was like the cookie sucked. This can't be great.
Yeah. Okay. It's definitely not like a Reese's, like obviously,
Okay.
but they tasted like pretty solid, in my
Okay.
opinion. To
I've
me,
heard they
they
were
were
more like
like
dark chocolatey.
closer. Yeah, it was more of a dark chocolate than a milk chocolate. I know. What is? I can't remember the brand, but they did like a protein Pop Tart. That's like another one of
Legendary.
those things.
And that was
Yep.
tasted like shit. It was
Yes,
terrible.
people have done donuts too. Like when we get the
I
further we get away from bars, it gets sketchy. It gets
yeah.
sketchy.
I think a good protein donut would be fantastic. I think like that
Mhm.
would be like if you could do it right, like you know, I mean, if anybody's into fitness, even a coach, and you're just like, I want to eat healthier, like shout out Zach at Flexible Dieting Lifestyle. He has a protein donut recipe that it's like 8 grams of protein in there. It's not massive, and they're like kind of like the little mini donuts, but they taste. The texture is a lot like a regular donut. Just a homemade one is probably better. It's when you get into
Yeah,
mass manufacturing and cutting costs that it turns kind of into a shit show.
yeah, and like it's always like they're always too dry, or the texture is just not even close to what an
Slimy.
actual like donut is. Yeah, it's just it gets weird.
So, I mean, it's just this cyclical kind of thing that happens over and over again. And in 2 years or even in a year, it'll be something else. Um, Mark my words, I think it's going to end up being. I mean, protein chips is a big thing, and
Yep,
for the most
some of
part,
those are all
those are.
right.
I like the Quest chips. The tortilla ones are really, really good. They come out with a couple new flavors. They have a buffalo ranch one that's good, and a salsa verde one that's really good. Um, and then like Legendary has like the popcorner kind of style chips. But mark my words, I think the next one that's coming, I think it's a protein pretzel. Someone's gonna try to do like 14 to 20 grams of protein in pretzels because you could like pretzels are already crunchy. So when you do the protein, you bake it, it gets really crunchy. Someone's gonna do those. I think Lenny and Larry's does it a little bit already. Um, but I think that's what's gonna everyone's gonna kind of turn the corner on.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm not sure if I would like even want those to be honest. Like
I love pretzels, but like
I like pretzels, but I don't eat them for protein. I
yeah,
know. I don't know.
I'm eating pretzels because I like pretzels.
Yeah, like I just wanted some pretzels.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't. Another thing that's big in like the drinks now. Every once in a while, you'll see like a
clear protein.
clear protein. See fruit flavored protein. We're already getting kind of close to like okay, this could go sour. When you make it like a liquid, like a protein water, and I haven't tried all of them, but like it's just
They always feel like they leave a film in your mouth.
yeah, like it's similar to like when you have like if you ever just drink like collagen protein.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I've it's tough to find like a collagen protein that doesn't clump or doesn't leave that foam. That's kind of what I feel like with those clear protein supplements. Another one that you see is like they're trying to make like the functional healthy energy drink, like not
Oh
even
yeah,
like
get out of here with
Celsius,
that. Get
like
out of here with that.
RX, like Fit RX. Or like I just saw one. I was looking at Stacked, and there's one. It's a newer company, I think, but they're coming out with one that has like essentially it's 200 milligrams of caffeine, but it also has 20 grams of collagen protein. I don't know. I could see that tasting like shit, to be honest
It's
with you.
it's gonna be $10 a can. Like
Like yeah, like screw that. Like
people just don't they forget that like the whole point of this is that it's supposed to be a good alternative to something that you're really craving. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And what they end up doing is like, well, this one has a little bit more protein, which now it takes it from 600 to 700 calories. But you could eat that and spend $7 on it, or you could buy one cookie for $1 and just eat the cookie and drink a protein shake.
yeah.
So
We're trying to make everything into one, and it just
yeah,
doesn't work like
it's
that.
no. When you chase five rabbits, you're never gonna catch one of them.
Exactly.
Um, and I think that's a. Ugh, I'm looking at that drink right now, and it just looks disgusting. So, um, yeah, but I think that kind of leads into this point that I had a question for you. Um, so like there's a lot of ergogenic aids, and that's not necessarily means that they're steroidal in any way, shape, or form, but there's things that you can take in your body that can be performance enhancing, even though they're not technically illegal in any way, shape, or form. Could because they're not necessarily hormonal. They're just like they might stimulate your nervous system a little bit more here and there. If you had to pick a top three, and that's what you're going to go for, and you're going to maybe make a drink out of it, or a pre-workout, or whatever, or if you're just picking top three in general, what are those three things?
It's a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's tough because a lot of the stuff the like proven ergogenic aids, they're tough to get in like a drink.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're going like okay, no holds barred, got to be creatine in there. I know it's not like it's tough to be like stable under water, but I think if you could
Yeah.
find a way, creatine, that's just like a no brainer. I feel like everyone like period should be taking that. There's just so many benefits, whether it's performance, cognitive health. Like there's evidence that like it helps people with like Alzheimer's disease. That's like, and it's super safe, super cheap, probably the most well researched that we have as well. Um, Another one that's not really like an ergogenic A, but it's just something that people are deficient in, and that's vitamin D. That would
That's
be
like
another one.
the legal steroid if you're a man.
Ex- exactly, like
Take
vitamin
vitamin
D,
D.
100%. Yep. With the K2 variant is, I believe, the one that helps the absorption.
Mm-hmm.
That would be in there. That's a super simple one. Like you need to get that anyway, and most people aren't getting that, especially if you live. I believe it's if you live like north of Atlanta, Georgia, in the U.S. I don't know wherever that would be. Sure, you could find that where that is in other parts of the world. Between the months of like November and March or something like that, or October and March, there just isn't enough sunlight getting to those locations where you can get enough vitamin D generally. So you should definitely be supplementing with vitamin D if you aren't in the wintertime, especially if you live in like the Midwest or like a northern area where you're not getting a lot of sunlight. And even like down here, it's crazy because the sun is out every day. It's always sunny here in DR. But like I kind of had like it was kind of shocking to me when we did like our physicals like throughout the org with the players and stuff like that. We had a lot of kids, we had a lot of players that were either deficient or insufficient in vitamin D. So a
That's
lot of different,
crazy.
I know, and you're thinking like, what the hell? Like you play an outside sport and you're outside every day, but you got to remember there's a lot of other factors that play into that as far as like how much vitamin D you can absorb. Because I think most people are knowing like, okay, vitamin D, the sun. Obviously, like you can get it from eating things like mushrooms and taking supplements and stuff like that. but the sun is probably the easiest and best way to get it. Um, I think it's from the research that I've read, it's like even like 15 to 30 minutes a day with like 35. You do have to have like a certain amount of your sun exposed. Like if you have like 35% of your sun exposed, that'll probably be good. But if you have darker skin, you have more melanin in your skin, it's more difficult to absorb that vitamin D. If you wear sunblock, it's tougher to absorb that vitamin D. If you go outside in long sleeves and you're not, think of a baseball player, you're wearing pants, you're wearing a hat, your
You're
arms might be
completely
exposed.
covered.
Exactly. So like it's sometimes, and like people are spending more time inside now, especially. Um, it's tough, and there's a lot. I mean, you can look up all the benefits of vitamin D, but that's a big one. You need to be getting that regardless. Don't even talk about like ergogenic aids. That's like a necessary vitamin for your body.
Yeah. Even if you're just
Um,
even if you're not even talking about like hormone health, but you're just like literally talking about like basic human function of like bone density.
yeah, like feeling good, having healthy bones. The third one, I feel like this one I'd have to go. I mean, can we assume that caffeine is definitely in the energy drink as like a baseline?
I feel like we can't count caffeine because that's like a given for both of us. Like it
Yeah,
has to be
yeah,
stuff outside of like we already know it's going to be a 200 to 250 milligram energy drink.
yes.
Like we've already discussed this. I mean we're on episode 60. Like it's we've done it for 60 episodes of caffeine. This is the perfect mix of caffeine in an energy drink. That's just set aside. That's going in
Yes.
there.
Yes. That's a no brainer. Um, After that, it would probably be this is going to be like the same thing that you would say too, but I would either go Alpha GPC or Rhodiola rosea. Those are two. I might go Rhodiola because that's a little bit less common. That's something that I've taken before, and I've seen like pretty good benefits as far as like focus and cognitive clarity. That's a really good one. Um, Shit, man, it's tough to argue with those three if I'm being honest.
Very hard, actually.
Yeah, trying to think what else. Ashwaganda's very popular now. I see that as more of like a
A hormone supplement.
yeah, like a stress modulator.
Yeah.
I don't know. What would you put in there if you had to pick different ones?
The hard part is alpha GPC and creatine would have been my two of my givens. Now the D3 has me very like if I'm making an energy drink and there's a way to get like a vitamin D3 in there, I think
It's
that's
tough
extreme.
though.
It's
It's tough to
tough.
get that in energy because it's like a fat soluble vitamin.
Yeah, and that's a really hard thing is like do you have an oily kind of drink?
Yeah, it's
But if
very
they made
acid.
it if they made it at least like diluted enough, it could be sick. Um, the hard thing is I'm like trying to think right now. Obviously, so if I went and I couldn't use alpha GPC, I couldn't use D3, I couldn't use creatine, and caffeine's already out of the question. And you kind of go towards the next couple ones. Like honestly, like part of me's thinking like ginkgo biloba, like another like nootropic type herb. That would be a very very good one. I know it gets a bad rap because like a lot of like old school energy drinks used to use ginkgo and people's like heart rate would spike. It wasn't necessarily because of the ginkgo that just got the bad rap for it because it was included and on the label. It was spiking because of a high sugar content with caffeine,
Yeah.
and then a ton of B vitamins like B12, which was going to push a heart rate. Um, I think ginkgo biloba would probably be in there. Honestly, I might catch flack for this one, but if I can't use those three that you said, I think like a Shilajit or like a Tonkat Ali. Like
Oof.
one of those two herbal supplements would be fantastic in there because they're both a hormonal supplement when it comes to men. It's typically that like you're drinking an energy drink that you're not probably getting enough sleep and those two will help supplement hormonal regulation as well as your like alertness, your mental clarity, etc. if you're not sleeping as much as you should. Now, if you take them with that, that's damn near a super drug. Um, So like those two would probably go in there. One or the other of the Shilajit or the Tonkat, and then the Ginkgo biloba. Um,
I like
and
those a
then
lot. I like that a
I
lot.
I think it'd be a sick drink. Um, and then this is where I'm a little torn. Part of me is like, get something that isn't necessarily like an upper nootropic, but something where it keeps you stable. So like an L-theanine might be a good idea. But I think if I can't have alpha GPC, I think I'm gonna go cognizin, like acetylcholine.
I was thinking
Uh,
choline too. I was thinking that or like a this might sound a little weird, but like a magnesium type of blend.
a magnesium blend, like a magnesium, like glycinate,
Yeah, one that's gonna help with like crossing the blood-brain barrier, not the ones that are gonna like help
make you
relax you as
shit,
much. Yeah, or make you shit, or maybe one of the ones that helps you relax a little bit more would be good to kind of in place of the
even it out,
L-theanine. Yeah,
and even out your caffeine spike. Um,
right.
and if I
And
think
that's
if
a it's electrolyte too. So like that's a mineral that a lot of people I think are deficient in.
I think so too, and it's like when you see like electrolyte drinks, like a lot of people like the big thing right now is like potassium. I think it's overdone. I think magnesium outside of sodium is like the most important one and is the often forgotten one. It's just more expensive to put in there, so most people don't put it in there.
Mhm.
But I think those would be like so like it's a little bit like if we took two different energy drinks, like mine would like yours being the one that like obviously two ingredients that we absolutely agree on. The D3, if we could find a way to put it in there, like we're looking at essentially the best performance based energy drink ever. When you
Yes.
look at like from an athlete standpoint, and what you could do is even go instead of a caffeine anhydrous, you go teacrine. So it's essentially a green tea extract caffeine. So it's a slower on ramp. There's no
Yes.
crash. Right there, you have probably like you could get that in the hands of every NFL player, every NBA player, etc. And they're looking at it like this is awesome. And then on my side, now that we've used all those sick ingredients, it's like this is like the 33-year-old man who's like, I need to like lock in at work and then I want to hit the gym and go golfing when I'm done. Like I want hormonal supplements and mental clarity. Like, should we I mean if anyone wants to go fund us
What's
and
up?
let us
Good.
and let us get some of these, we could definitely like make some cool energy drinks.
Yeah, we just need like a loan of like $50,000.
For a
Um,
small loan of $1 million.
honestly, yeah, that would be sick.
I think those two would be great. The D3 is such a slept on one in any way, shape, or form. And it's even got me thinking about it right now of like how much do I not like take D3 enough? Everyone buys a bottle and they're not consistent taking it in that
Yeah,
way.
yeah, and like I said, you should be taking it like if not year round, like during the winter months, 100%.
Yeah. I have one a little bit more geared towards coaching for you.
Let's hear it.
We can go as like the number one or your top three, but the worst coaching cues of all time, whether they be absolutely just terrible, cringeworthy, or if they're just like dangerous cues, or are they just borderline like hilarious?
Gosh, this I have to think about this one.
Right?
Um, trying to think of ones that are just like noise, like all noise and no signal.
Yeah. I the one I don't like, I don't know if it's the worst of all time, but when someone has like a squat and you just hear sit down,
Sit down. Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's not it.
like you think about how many people sit down and they just kind of do this and they like plop back like sitting no one sits down carefully like if I told like a 7 or a 7-year old or like a 13-year-old just sit down while you're holding the bar, they're falling over.
They're gonna crash forward.
Yeah.
I think the like tight core tight. I think we both agree on that one. That one's
Hate that one.
it's it's just too non-descriptive. I think it's too non-descriptive. Um,
We don't close a loop with that one.
yeah, I think that one.
This one's hard because we've always talked about what's the best cue, what's a good cue for the
Right.
situation. We
And
never
I've
think
definitely
about.
used bad ones. I've used good ones.
We've
And I've
all
used bad
yeah.
ones.
I think we just block them out.
Yeah, 100%. I think when people go like specifically when we think about like not going low enough on something, instead of saying lower, like lower is like
Object
a
like
quarter,
how
quarter
much
squat.
lower?
Yeah, like instead of just saying like go as low as you possibly can, I think that's a little bit better. Lower is just like a little bit lazy to me. Instead of saying, "Hey, touch your chest," or "Go as low as you can."
Yeah. I will say my all-time favorite bad cue that we've said ironically to like more advanced athletes is the Always Sunny quote of, just all back, no legs in a twisting, jerking motion.
Yeah, move the weight. Yeah, wouldn't recommend that one.
This one's a bad one, but it is actually a good one, especially as like the athlete, if depending on your relationship with the athlete, is literally just like figure it out and try harder. It's very indescriptive, but you're putting the autonomy on the athlete in a sense of like you have to learn to like kind of self-regulate. So I love it, but I also hate it. Like it's you have to use it kind of carefully.
Yeah, the chest up cue is interesting because I don't. In when you think about it, it doesn't make sense because you're not going to have them like chest to the sky. But I think it sometimes it gets done what you want it to get done because they have especially if they're like in a bad position. That's a good one. That could also be a bad one.
Have you ever seen? Oh no, I may have lost Christian. Oh no. Well, I'll talk. There's an old video. If anyone knows about wrestling, the Ultimate Warrior was absolutely insane. He was like a 80s and 90s wrestler. Guy was on so much juice, it was nuts. But one of the all-time best, absolute best cues was during this like boot camp training video that he did with like a band that paid to come train with him. He just screams at him like, "I need you to squat like you're shitting over a hole." Oh shit. Christian's back. He's reloading in. Don't let this guy load up. I'm going to take about 10 seconds here. Swap out my Zinni. Hopefully he loads in by the time I click this. Internet might have gone out. There's got to be a...
Oh boy.
I wonder if we would get flagged, honestly, if I played this. It's worth trying.
Hello.
I don't know if you could play the video, though, and have the sound come through. That'd be a very interesting one. But, I mean, that was an all-time great cue. And just seeing him go nuts. Let me see if I can pull this up here.
Hello.
There we go. I think I found it. And if we can get Christian to load in here, there's got to be a way I can do this. Let's see if I can't cue this thing up here. Just watching me struggle, watching Christian struggle.
Am I back?
We're back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Slight power
The
outage.
internet went out.
Yes. But it's okay. Working off the old hotspot now.
It's all good. All good. All good. I have this
Another
pulled up.
one.
I
Oh
don't know if the
shit.
sound's gonna. I was talking about one of the
Jesus.
all-time best cues, which was the Ultimate Warrior squat like you're shitting over a hole. I don't know if it'll play, but we'll try and see if it plays the sound.
You put the bar on the back and you squat fucking down, feet flat, like you're shitting over a hole, like this.
Oh God.
Did it play the sound for
I'd
you?
have to use that one at some point before I die. Yes, it did. That was incredible. That's a good one, I'd say.
Like you're shitting over a hole. Oh God, we lost Christian again. Guys, we are in shambles. This guy can't keep his power on. I'm going to take this moment to do a small ad read. And for the ads, it's literally just our website. It's one of the best websites ever. It's completely done so bad. It looks like it was built on 1984's AOL, but that's because we built it. And for that, it's bevboys.com. All right, you just go to Bev Boys. We have sick hats that are on the site now. We got them in khaki. We got them in white. They're great whether you guys are going to a party, you're going to the 4th of July, you might want to go out on the boat, or even if you're just going golfing or wearing that to go to the store. Definitely go on there, pick yourself up a hat, a t-shirt, and a hoodie. Help us out. Help Christian keep his power on. That's bevboys.com.
I think ass back is another kind of shitty one. It's funny, and I get like what you mean, but and to be honest though, like I mean, it depends. Like if you actually like explain it to the athlete, and they know like if you say these couple words, that's what you mean. It's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think sometimes we just cue a little bit too much. And I think back to like Andrew's episode, like you don't always have to be saying anything. Sometimes it's okay to just shut up.
I got a great one for you. What's the, for your personal journey, not even with athletes, what's the biggest training mistake you've ever made?
Oof. Biggest training mistake I've ever made. I feel like for me, I'm the type of person that's like, I'll like program hop. At least I did a lot in the past. And not to say that it, like obviously like you can still make progress, like not being like on a super consistent program, but I would just get like ADHD or like I'd find something else I'd want to try. I'd be like, oh, this looks cool. And like not really like plan it out super well. I think that's one. I think another one is like, I've done this better and worse at different times is like tracking progress more clearly. Like actually like I remember like in high school I'd actually have like a notebook where I'd like write down everything in the weights and then go back next week if I did that same workout I'd look back and then when I like it's usually when I feel like I get away from doing that, that's when I usually program hop because I'm like, oh fuck, like I can't remember what I did last week. I'm just gonna do this random stuff. Those are like big ones for me. What about you?
I neglect ab work so much because I get bored. There's that. However, I would probably have to go to like the cop out, and like my biggest training mistake was thinking that, being very young in the industry, like had only done an internship, had no true realization what acute to chronic workload was, and I tore my own pec off the bone.
Yeah, I've done that too. Like, I mean, like, especially like, I love to train, and like at this stage of my life, especially in season, working a lot, got other stuff I have to do outside of that. Probably not sleeping, definitely not sleeping enough, and like, training's like my outlet for stress. But sometimes I have to be like, okay, reel it back in so you don't hurt yourself. Like, luckily mine's been like, okay, shit, pulled my hammy. Okay, that's not as bad. Like, got a little tendonitis, this and that. But it's like that stuff could probably have been avoided. Yeah, if I wasn't just like, all right, stressful day, let's go to the woodshed and just take it to town on this training session. Take you to the woodshed. I think that's a great name for like.
That's a great one,
bro. I'm like, if I when I have my gym, I might name it that, the woodshed. Take you to the woodshed.
Be sick. That would be sick.
Yeah, ab work too, especially because like luckily like I just have good ab genetics and I've been lean enough for as long as I can remember to like see my abs. I kind of neglected at some points. I think I neglect it more with calves. That's something I've been trying to do better. Not even like because I just have like
your calves are massive.
I know, and I will do. It's not that I do no calf work. I think I started doing more once. I feel like once I got to Elon, I was just like got into more of like the spring ankle stuff, and that's more of like, okay, keep your foot and ankle healthy. But I think I could do it more consistently. I've been trying to actually do some of that stuff more towards the beginning of my workouts because everyone knows you leave it to the end. It's always abs and calves at the end. And it's just so easy just to bang it and be like, fuck it. I'll do it another day.
I'll hit it tomorrow.
And you never do it tomorrow. Yeah.
I would say like other than the torn pec, but like training mistakes, like I'm very, very okay. If you say like you have to squat 12 sets and like that shit is boring for the average person, but I'm just like, I find a lot of like fun in like this is gonna suck in like that sense. But I will say that. But like even like arm days, if you're an arm day by yourself is not fun. I don't care what anyone says. It's really boring. An arm day with the boys, or you're just getting a juicy pump, that's fun because you guys are you're chopping it up. You're just hitting some curls, hitting some triceps, maybe hitting some shoulders just to get that little pop, some shrugs. But the whole thing is like you distract yourself from how boring that work is because it's all just pure isolation stuff. For the most part, you know, you're talking to them to get through it. When you're by yourself, or like sometimes I'll live with my girlfriend. I love her, but she ain't getting a juicy pump with me. She's like, I want to, you know, work out and feel a little fitter and be a little happier. She doesn't want to go crush, you know, a pyramid set on, you know, bicep curls. That's not her thing. And I understand that, but it's just what it is. Christian lost power again. Guys, you have to go to bedboys.com. You got to buy a hat. You got to buy a shirt. Let this man keep his power back on. We can single-handedly save the power grid in the Dominican Republic by going to bedboys.com and buying something.
That's right. Buy a shirt. But what were you saying, Brian? Arm day with the boys?
Yeah, an arm day with the boys. It's boring work, but you love it because you're with your boys. You're just getting a pump. You know, I can hit it with my girlfriend, but she doesn't want to do a pyramid set, tossing the bar back and forth, going as many until we get absolute failure, and then just like getting in front of a mirror and just hitting a little flex on it. It's not the same thing. I've had a bunch of these, but you go ahead.
No, I think another thing is like I feel like not realizing how like a training partner can like improve your workouts because like I'm okay with like to be honest like I'm perfectly okay like training alone. I'm gonna do it regardless, but like I didn't really realize
you
how
can
much...
elevate.
Exactly, and it's not even like when I was at Elon, like we might have all been doing different stuff, but like when we trained at the same time, like we elevated. Or like last year, like the guy that I worked with down here last year, we trained together. We would do like the same workouts, and those were like some of the most elite training blocks I've had in my entire life. And this year it's a little bit tougher. It's tougher to like, especially like end of the day or like you've had a long week, tougher to motivate yourself. Like you just kind of want to.
You don't have someone to keep you. You don't have someone to keep you accountable.
Exactly.
Where it's like,
exactly.
You're sitting there on a day. You're like, I got a heavy triple. You know, one day I was working my way up to like, I failed the rep at 275, but I got it at 265 on a push press. And if I'm by myself in my garage, is that rep getting done? Or, I got Nick, I have Kel and Evan, they're all there and they're in the background like, come on, you gotta get like they're chirping you to like kind of dig. They know how to get at me. They know how to get at me. But that kind of situation, like, is it gonna make or break you? No. Is it like when you have everything else figured out? Could that be the last little bit of like pushing the limit? Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Did you have any topics?
Yeah, yeah, let me try to actually do something for the podcast for once. So just being a piece of shit leech.
This guy can't even keep his power on.
Yeah. There it goes again.
There it goes.
Sorry, I think I'm with the hot spot, so I should be good. I had a question. This could kind of bleed into a couple questions I had, but thinking about strength coaches and performance coaches in particular, side hustles, because I think we get into the industry mostly for this like similar reasons. We were athletes, we love to train, we want to help other people improve their performance. And then for a lot of us, we kind of figure out, we always, figure out kind of like the glass ceiling that there is a performance, the pros and cons of the industry. A lot more people, I think, are being more open to side hustles. Some people are still a little bit, I don't want to say like resistant, but maybe leery about it. But how has, with your situation, you've been working for Team Builder for, I don't even know how many years you've been working for Team Builder, 4 or 5 years at this point?
I'm in my 4th year, I believe.
Yeah.
Started in 2021, yeah.
Exactly. So you've been, particularly with the customer success department there, how has that changed your view on like side hustles, and how has that helped you like learning more about business, be a better coach, or help you kind of expand? Because I think coaches, there's always more to learn about training. Like that's not a debate, and you should continue to learn about stuff like that. But I think we kind of back ourselves. You can back yourself into a corner by just knowing that, and then you have to be employed by someone. You don't have any wiggle room to like do anything on your own when you do get frustrated with like, okay, I'm working all these hours, I'm still only getting paid this, I don't feel like I'm doing what I could be doing, this and that.
Honestly, that's a really good one. So number one, I think it levels me. I don't get the burnout because I have one thing that I have to focus on. I have to have a foot in like 2 different worlds, and I get to enjoy both because it's not the like end all be all, right? Like Team Builder being like my main source of income, that's my full-time job essentially. And obviously anyone who's ever coached as a part-timer, it's basically a full-time even when it's part-time. Technically I'm part-time. But like by doing that, I feel like it has made me a better coach because it's like the coaching point and it's less like I have to write these programs. It's like, oh, I get to write these programs. I get to go coach. You really appreciate that. It's like that interaction during the day. But the big thing that you had kind of touched on is like being in more of a business sense. I have a much more broad skill set, and it may sound like I'm going to pat myself on the back. And if my shoulder's aching after this, somebody tell me it's fine. But there is a lot of parallels between business, especially in more of a leadership role, than not with coaching. You still have to lead people. You have to find a way to lead unleadable people. Someone who doesn't necessarily want to be managed or doesn't like doing things the way that you want to do them, or is more of a maverick. You might have a diva, and you have to be able to work that personality in and get the most productivity out of them in some way, shape, or form. You also have to have this skill set of, your typical skill sets of like spreadsheets, data analytics, forecasting, which is like, oh, I know when I want to peak. It's the same thing. It's just done in a different manner. And then you have the aspect too of like really you have to figure things out. And that's like a big skill set in both senses and in both career paths of there's a road that you have to follow on a map. mental models kind of deal. Like you have a map, but it's not going to show you every little detail. You have to figure out a way to maneuver them, whether that be a relationship with a customer, a problem that you see, or a coach relationship that you have, or an athlete, and may have an injury, right? But now in this sense, it's a monetary loss or something like that, where you have to figure out all the little things. So it's really made me think, I guess, like less linear and more spatially, and that like there's so much up for debate and everything has to be contextual. There's no one size fits all approach, that it's really broadened the skill set and I think made me more valuable in both senses. I, again, not to pat myself on the back, but having done this, I'm able to use like, I guess, like business sense in the coaching world, and then take vice versa, take coaching sense and put it in the business world. Especially with Team Builder, we're here to support coaches. That's like the main mission, is like strength coaches, now sport coaches, and then gym owners with any of the different products. It's like you want to be able to speak their language. You want to be able to relate to them. You want to be able to understand the I guess the field, in a sense of like, this is what's going on. I can empathize with them, or I've been in a similar situation to them. I can empathize. So like having that is a big thing. But I think one of the big deals that is often forgotten about is that like there is a certain threshold limit of like what you can be as a coach, whether that be a head coach or a director, or eventually you leave coaching and you become an AD, right? But each one of those levels comes with a new set of challenges and probably new skill sets that you have to develop. I've been able to develop those without having to be in that position at that point in time. Now, my resume looks eclectic from being a director and then stepping back to an assistant, going from essentially like an AAU, like almost private sector, back to college and taking an under role. But I've developed leadership skills having gone up, a quote unquote like corporate ladder, and having to be a manager or like a middle leader in a leadership position where the responsibility, the accountability for whatever happens in that department is on me. Same thing as if say Coach DeMarco is gone, Nick leaves for 2 weeks. He knows if he hands something off to me, like there's a certain expectation of like stuff has to flow. And I have been in a situation like that in the business sense, to where I'm like, there's a certain way things should go, right? If X, then Y. It's not like, oh shit, I have to figure it out. I'm going to call him every moment of this is what's going on. What should I do? You're able to think on your feet a little bit more. You're able to have that, I guess, like not relaxation, but the like calmness to you of like, there's much more, you can kind of triage and find what's important and execute what's most important right now, and then be able to recap later. And you can delegate and you can say, hey, I can't do this right now. You need to go do this so I can get this done, because this is what our biggest thing is. Those skill sets, I think, are so often forgotten about. And a lot of coaches, when they look at a resume and they see something outside of S&C, they go, this person's probably not as valuable. I think if we flip the script and you're able to have a conversation on that context of like, well, what really did you do at whatever X position on that resume is? Were you just a day laborer? Then you're probably a hard worker. But if you were in a leadership position and you understand that, it's like, well, now I probably have someone with like a lot of big skills that are soft skills within, the entire organization chart, that are probably inherently pretty valuable, and I can pick their brain and be able to learn from. So I guess like all that to say is like, don't do the side hustle of I write programs for people and I sell $50 a month. Don't let that be just what the standard side hustle is. Find something that helps build like your knowledge and skill set base and makes you more valuable to whatever organization you're in. Now, I still sell programs. Follow the link in my Instagram if you guys want to buy it and train with me. That's all good. But like, if you can find something that is both fulfilling, pays you decently well, as well as like broadens your skill set and like your thirst for knowledge, you can vastly improve any situation that you're in, as long as you have the understanding of like, there's probably going to be a period of time where I eat shit, which I think everybody has been in. But if you're okay with that, like it is much brighter on the other side and you can live a vastly better life.
I think one of the things that I've noticed more since I started working with the Cubs is technically you zoom out, and yes, I'm a minor league strength and conditioning coach. Technically, that's my title, but I work within the entertainment industry. That's what professional sports are, and I don't think people realize, especially with college now. You're within your department and your little like circle of competence. If you're a strength coach, performance coach, whatever that may be, but you got to zoom out and kind of know what industry you're working in so you can kind of navigate that better. And even with college sports now with NIL, it's turning more into like business entertainment, kind of similar to like pro. Like the bottom line, that's why professional sports, there's some teams that don't win but still make money. There's, how long did the Cubs win over 100 years without winning a World Series? And Cubs fans are some of the most loyal fans like ever, which is crazy. Like, and then some teams are more successful and don't have a strong fan base. There's a lot that goes into that. But I think one thing that I learned and noticed was especially when I came in contact with people who would come down for a few days, like that were like coordinators or like even like front office type of people, like in these high positions. And I almost didn't know, like it got me thinking, like I don't even know how to act around these people because it's like they're so far removed, but that like making a good impression on them and like trying to like talk to them is probably going to be helpful for your career. If it doesn't get you a promotion now, it at least kind of lead to insights in how this whole thing works. You kind of know what you're dealing with instead of just having the blinders on. And I think that kind of plays into what you've been dealing with like customer service. Like, coaching can be way, your lens is a lot bigger than people that are just focused on the performance part. And I also think, I'm sure you've probably dealt with this with customer support in particular. I think this kind of relates to dealing with athletes that are a little bit younger. Patience is like key for some of that stuff. For me, it's like not wanting to like rip my hair out when a kid doesn't listen. For you, it's probably like, okay, you can't just blow up on someone because that's team builder's reputation on the line, and that matters to you.
I think that like that's a really, really big thing too, is like understanding like, is this, your emotions are absolutely like you can't control you. So anyone who says you can control your emotions is out of insane. They're wrong. You can't control how you feel about something. What you can't control is your behavior that you act on that emotion. You can be as frustrated as can be, and if you don't act on it, you seem very calm, cool, and collected as if it doesn't matter. And then as time goes on and you get more, I guess, as you get deeper into things, you start to realize this, your bullshit meter, as I like to call it, is much larger, right? An issue that you would have thought would have been a world ender 4 years ago is now a blip on your radar. You're like, this stuff happens. It's okay. Let's diffuse. Let's move on. It's the same thing as a relationship with an athlete where you may not like that you have to get on them for doing something wrong. And then you do it enough and you're just like, hey, they'll get over it. You'll get over it. You gotta address it because you gotta uphold your standard. Boom, you go on and so forth. Or you have a soft tissue injury. Nobody wants to have a soft tissue injury, but unfortunately, they are in nature of the beast. You can never prevent them. You can reduce the risk of them occurring. It's the same thing as having a customer who is going to be upset. 9 times out of 10, it's not always your fault in both situations. That soft tissue injury, they may have done 2 extra workouts because they're the grinder person, or they don't take care of their body, or they don't do X, Y, Z, etc. Same thing is when a customer blows up at you, they might be upset about other things that's going on. We have no idea. You're having this one interaction and they're just taking it out on you. So letting that affect you it's not productive for the overall mission. And it's like removing yourself from that, being like, it's cool, man. Like, I'm going to take a 5-minute walk. I'm just going to go get some sun, sip my coffee. I'll come back. It'll be all good. Like having that like deeper understanding of those situations helps you be more productive in them because you're able to not have an emotional reaction or like essentially have like a really bad behavioral change to how you're feeling. You kind of become more, I hate this and I hate that I'm about to say it, but you become like more centered and like grounded in like the fact of like, it's cool. Let's just control what I can control. We'll move forward.
Yeah. And I think one thing that I also thought interesting is like, it seems like the more you progress in up like the coaching ladder, the less the job looks like it did when you first started. You're probably coaching more coaches and less coaching actual athletes.
Yeah.
Like, and I think at first you might think like, oh, like that person like doesn't like
Do
like,
anything.
yeah, exactly. But like, no, they just kind of played the game. Like, you kind of have to see outside unless you want it. I mean, you can coach people for as long as you want, and you can get yourself into a really good paying job. But I think we need to realize that there are evolutions to this, and that the limits that we think are put on like coaching now, they don't necessarily have to be that way. Like we talked about, I don't know if it was last episode or a few episodes ago, like creating value and finding a way to like, I don't know, 20 years ago, would you think of like a strength coach being able to be an assistant AD? Probably not. But
Not a
that's a
chance.
thing now. That's a thing now because people are like, okay, I've done this, but I've kind of hit that glass ceiling. How can I kind of learn a little bit more about the administrative side to kind of improve the stability and the long-term trajectory of this career that I got into because I loved it, but it's may not be sustainable. It may not pay enough now for my, family situation, whatever. So I think we need to kind of think a little bit outside that. And the side hustles, it's tough. Everyone does the programs. And it's cool. I mean, you do the programs, I do the programs, but I don't think that doesn't scale past a certain point because unless you're
not doing all of your time in marketing and this and that, it's great when you can provide an item of value for somebody where it's like they don't want to write their own workouts and they want to stay fit and be healthy, and maybe you can provide some individualized coaching depending on what it is. But sooner or later you come to a pass where it's like if everything you do is like an individualized coaching thing, you're not going to have time for it, right? It's the same thing as if that was your entire business model. Eventually you would have to have a team underneath you to do those individualized coaching sessions, but you want it done how you would do it. So now you have to coach that coach, right? And you have to make it a scalable thing. Not to get all business guy on you, but it's like, what's the ROI and what's the scalability on this? If my return on investment is 23 hours a day, but I can only make $1,200 a month, eventually it's not scalable and it's a low dollar per hour. So it's a low return on investment, right? So now it's like, okay, well, what if I hired 1 to 2 people underneath me to coach the program that I've written or that they're going to write for these people? I pay them, but I take the vast majority of whatever the sale is and they just get their salary. Well, now they're happy. You've helped create them be more autonomous and better coaches. Everyone makes more money and you're reaching a bigger audience. You have to be able to scale it and find a way to, and I think that relates a lot to like the director position of like that director coaches the coaches on how to be better, right? In a perfect organization, you have the director, quote unquote, who is basically the director of a bunch of directors in waiting, whether that be at that school or another school, and they just don't want to leave because they like their situation, but they're all competent enough to be able to do that and continue to build that tree underneath them. Where I think like it's kind of like one of those like enlightenment moments of like I feel like every coach will eventually get to the point where it's like there's got to be more to this than just what I'm doing and just coaching athletes. Don't get me wrong, any coach who hates coaching probably isn't going to be a coach for long, and any director probably is like, I got to keep at least one team because I want to coach and I need to fulfill that itch. But how do you continue to progress, right? Really good people, they want fulfillment. And if you can only coach so much, and like whether it be the progress in or the pay or the personal life, whatever it is, if they can't reach that fulfillment in some of those areas, they're going to be looking for more or looking for another job. So you have to find ways to be able to continue to promote that within. I think it starts a lot with the individual. If you don't have a driven individual at the helm, you can't expect the people underneath them to be extremely driven, because it's like everything is limited by, a rate limiter at the top. You got a governor on the engine, and you're trying to say like, well, I need you to go 130. Well, the engine can only go 100 because of the situation that we're in. So,
Yeah, and I think with your situation, it's also nice because you're not capped. Like you're a busy guy, but you're not just coaching all the time. You have time for team builder, and you're not just a team builder all the time. You have time for coaching. I think sometimes people can.
they get too into one thing.
Yeah, and like obviously, like do your one thing and do it really well.
Mm-hmm.
But like you just described, those things are pretty related, more related than people think. And how do you get out of that? I've never been like in this situation, so speaking from ignorance, but how do you have a side hustle if all your time is taken up from your job? Yeah, you
Yeah.
can always like sleep less and do this and that, but like I haven't seen, I'm probably missing something, but like a lot of people that work, what are known as like the cool jobs, Power 5 football, that's a super time intensive job. And yeah, like the off season is nice, but like I don't see a ton of those guys doing stuff on the side. Maybe I could be wrong and I'm just like out of sync, but like I don't know.
Outside looking in, I think you're right. They could be training a couple people here and there. They could be doing whatever, but a lot of times, like you'll see like great, business-minded coaches in a sense. They'll hook up with an equipment manufacturer and they're like, well, I'll help you do R&D for some of the equipment, of like, this is stuff that we've seen in the weight room that we'd love to do, but we don't have the equipment for it. Let's try and build that with you. And I'm now a consultant with this. Even if it is for $10,000 a year and it's a little bit less time intensive, it's like they're broadening their spectrum. They're also probably learning skill sets that are applicable to their role. Yep. Because they're able to then say, well, I know in a business world, like it's got to go through these hoops. Well, when I want to make a petition for at least someone on my staff or a bigger budget, whatever it is, I know it's probably going to go through these hoops, so I should have this stuff prepared. So you don't come in half-cocked being like, I need this. And then they hit you with well, why do you need it? Well, because we want to do this. It's now, here's why we need it. This is the reason. This is what it would cost if we go with the top tier option. Here's a second option if we can't afford that, etc. And then you bring it through and you're like, this is my proposal. Here's how we can do it. I've done all the work. All you have to do is say yes now. If they say yes, then you're like, cool, let's just put it in action.
Yeah, I think you see a lot. You see people like, I think of like Lauren Landau, Eric Cressy with Cressy Sports Performance, Driveline, people that have private facilities, and then they have their business, like they run a legit brick and mortar business, and then like they are so good that a team comes to them and is like, or maybe I don't know if they applied or like, but they end up working for a team because of the reputation they built up from their business.
The business.
Yeah, and I think we think of it back. I don't even say it's backwards. We think of it the other way around, and it can work either way. But I think it's super interesting. Like, are those guys doing it the right way? Because like they know how to run a full ass business, and now they're getting to like work with the teams like later on because they've built up that good reputation with like combine training, combine prep, all that stuff. It's wild, and it's not like, okay, they're just like they're working at like the highest level, like Notre Dame football, New York Yankees, like stuff. Yeah, like it's crazy. Like
Notre Dame football, baby.
Yeah, and like I'd be interested to hear from them on like, was that something that they planned on doing, or are they just like, okay, like I want to have my own facility, I know the business, but I don't know. It's weird to think about. It's like, damn, like, are we doing this thing ass backwards, or because that's not the traditional route,
Yeah. I can't speak for everybody. I can speak for myself and a couple people that I know that have had similar situations. it was never, this is my long-term plan, this is how it's going to work out, it's this or that. It was always, I'm going to do the best job I can at what I'm currently doing. And you do well enough to where you get noticed and another opportunity arises. And then you see how you can work it out to make the best life and do the best things possible. And at least from like, again, outside looking in, it always seems like it's those situations that end up being the most fruitful, where it's, this person's really good. This person cares a lot about what they do. They get noticed. Well, they don't want to just completely ditch their original business or their job, whatever it is, and they go, I think I can do both. Here's a way I can do both, or like scale it in some way. Like I'll give operations to this person. I'll have more coaches on the floor, whatever it is, and they're like, this is how I'm going to figure it out. And they just continuously like say yes to good opportunities, say no to bad opportunities, and at first every opportunity looks like a great opportunity, because it's more than what you had. We get into that kind of, like, I don't want to say greed mindset, but like this, like, I can do more, I can do more, I can do more, this very hungry thing. And as I've gotten deeper into my career, I've started to say no more and more. At first, everything was a yes, and I got myself into trouble. And then now it's like, you start to weigh, and you get to a point where at least you're comfortable with money to point, to where, you aren't stressed and looking for the next set of cash to be able to pay a bill. And you understand like your value and what you can put into it. I think that's a big one, is like, I might not be able to put everything I can into this, or I don't want to. So I'm not going to say yes and put my name on that, because it's going to ruin a future opportunity. So it's like being able to say no to ones that aren't good, yes to the ones that are, and then being like, all right, well, cool. Now that I've said yes, I'm going to go all in and continue to do what I can to make the situation rise for both parties involved. And then another one comes, and then another one comes. That's been my life, for the lack of a better term, for the last 4 to 5 years, of like being able to do stuff like that. And for the first 2, it was say yes to everything and figure it out. In the past 3, it's been very much like, this might not be the best one. Say no.
I think it gives you leverage too. Like after you've done that stuff, it's like, if you don't need it, like if you need it, you don't have a choice. It's yes or yes. If you don't need it, you have a little bit more wiggle room and a little bit more room to negotiate if you need to.
Exactly. And it's the same. I mean, it's the same thing we told you when you were an intern, is like, you're not going to be able to be picky with your first job. You're going to need a job. After 1 or 2, then you're like, especially when you find one that's good, it's like, now you can be picky. Now you only take the job that's going to elevate what you want, of whether it be your career or personal fulfillment, whatever it might be that you want out of the job. You can say no to everything else that doesn't align with that. But at first, you kind of just have to be like, I need a job, I need to pay some bills, and I need to break into the industry. So yes. And then after that, you slowly start to say no more and more and more and more. And then eventually you're 10 years in the industry and you're saying no more than you say yes. So all those ones that you might say yes to become more lucrative offers, whether it be personally, monetarily, whatever it is.
It's good food for thought. You got any other ones to want to close up on?
I don't know. I guess that just kind of brings the idea here of like, we haven't said no to any sponsors yet, because so if anyone wants to hit us up, you might get an immediate yes.
Yeah. Speaking of side hustles. Yeah. I don't care if it's
Ghost,
if
you yeah. What's the one that everybody puts
Hello
on podcasts now?
Or some shit.
Is that like Hello Fresh for underwear?
Yeah. Right to your door. Freshly knitted underwear right to your door.
Hello skid marks. Yeah, I think let's get some ratings and we can close this out.
Yeah. I think this is saved this week because if you watched last week's episode, that drink I had, that accelerate or whatever, I tried to banish it from my mind. It was trash. It was trash. This one's not very good either, but it's a lot better than that. This might be one of my least favorite flavors of the sparkling ice, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to give it like a. I'm gonna give it like a. I won't give it a flat 5, but I'll give it like a 5-1. So, not great. Kind of just like an arbitrary, like a pineapple mango flavor. Not horrible, but with the ingredients, the amount of caffeine, probably won't be getting it again. I'm probably gonna stick to the citrus twist and the cherry vanilla are my kind of top two on the sparkling ice. So,
Okay. Prefacing again, this one's going to get judged harshly because I'm not a big bomb pop guy. But being bomb pop or America pop, as it's written on the can, America, it is a very good version of it. I'm just not a big fan of the flavor base itself. Great ingredients. Price that this comes in, $1.52 a can at that 18 pack is incredible. It just gets a little bit harsher because I'm not a huge bomb pop flavor guy. I'm going to go 7-1. 7-1, which, in all honesty, it's low in the context of Ghost, but it's a very good drink in that this could be someone's daily driver.
yeah.
I think it's just being bomb pop lowers it a little bit, but as always, like Ghost does a really good job of taking something that someone might not love and being like, you know what, that's pretty damn good.
Like you.
Yeah.
Alrighty, folks. I think that brings us to the end of this is episode 60, so the big 6-0. Like Brian mentioned, make sure to go to bedboys.com, grab a shirt, grab a hat, hoodie, whatever your preference is. Follow us on Instagram, bedboys.tv. Posts of past, present, future episodes collabed with our personal accounts. I can be found at French_fit40. Got those Bed Boys posts as long as some training clips on there, this and that. Brian can be found on Instagram at
BSZUTKOWSKI. B Shakuski. Definitely a lot of training clips when it comes to like our side. A lot of memes, a lot of Bed Boys content as well. Give us a follow. Let us earn some kind of monetary gain from this because we love you guys. We love doing this. This is the highlight of my Sunday every week. But it would make it a lot easier if we could afford Riverside.
Yes, 100%. So make sure to check us out. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you did enjoy the episode, make sure to subscribe to us, refer it to a friend, write us a review. That really helps with the algorithm. And as always, thank you so much for supporting and watching, and we will catch you all next time. Peace.
Peace.